Alrighty. So, last we left off, we had gone about town. Oh yes, we met a new friend. Vargeir met Tommy, the tiefling. A upbeat, rapscallion young lad that seemed to connect with Vargeir about being a little bit different up on the rooftops. Before making friends with him and getting brought back to the Golden Dragon Inn for a bit of fun and drinking, as he got introduced to a few members of the party, Ghost and Puck, challenging them to a drinking game with 20 gold on the table, quite pricey and quite confident. But Puck, using his secret code word with the House Galander, got a bit of a watered down drink, which served to his advantage as he took away the pot of 80 gold. And Tommy was pretty much left for dead on the side of the table. But being the courteous party you are, Vargeir and Puck decided to take him back home, or at least what he called home, to the Clan Manor, leaving him by the door to where a authoritative figure was quite disappointed. Quite a burly, big tiefling in a dressing gown came out and brought him back in. As the night passed, or actually on the way back, Puck taught Vargeir a few things to look out for in busy cities. Make sure he had all his pockets closed and his gold on him. And also noticing that maybe a wandering hand had gone past all of his stuff on the walk back to the manor. Which is just something to be aware of and careful of. But nevertheless, a good night's sleep, good study, and preparation from the Tabaxi, heading to the Jorosco house the next day. A bit of an interaction happened on the streets. A misused fire hose or outlet created a bit of an elemental problem, but the party quickly dealt with that. And then you arrived at Jorosco House to get briefed on your next quest. To go to the jungles of Khorvaire, and the town, or a location north of Adaport. Adaport being the capital of Khorvaire, if you want to call it that. Learning that Khorvaire is quite cut off from the rest of the world by the mountain range. And they have reached out to House Jorosco in a plea of help because of a virus or infection that has started just north of their main city. They are quite worried that this infection is deadly, and usually when people show symptoms of it, it'll take a couple of weeks before things turn bad, but now it's starting to happen and accelerate over the next days, sometimes even hours. Jorosco have explained to you that they are worried that there might be some connection with the Emerald Claw in this area. So you, along with Shapiro himself, are set off to investigate what might be the cause of this, whether you can stop it, and if there is any participation from your friendly faces at the Emerald Claw. So given the day, you can fix up any last-minute loose ends before meeting at the airship in the harbour this evening to get on the way and get going. Shapiro also mentioned that Cornelius, the alchemist of Jorosco, would have something for you. So throughout the day, you obviously can stop off at him and pick up those if you so please. So, going over to you, is there anything last minute you want to just tidy up in the day?
I think Molokov would like to, if we've got sort of like the morning and early afternoon to sort of do our thing. I think he wasn't out drinking last night, so I think he was mostly prepped the night before.
Yep.
I think he's going to go visit his friend that he's been borrowing his workshop all week. And he's just going to help out any way he can.
Sure. There's always something to do. Yep. There's always something to do at the workshop. You know, he kind of almost wipes the sweat off his dwarven brow and, you know, oh, you're back again. I thought you'd completed that. And kind of just is expecting you to continue working on your own thing.
No. I had more time than I thought. I thought I might help you out as thanks for using your space. I know it is a hell of an annoyance. Does not miss a beat by giving you a broom and a dustpan and a list of chores that is never ending in the workshop. But a bit of hard work and elbow grease will put it into it, and you set away to work for the day. Anyone else wanting to do anything specific?
I'm gonna go check if I got any mail.
Sure. You go back, and I believe you probably check on behalf of Hera as well, or if Hera wants to join you. And there is no mail for you at the station. Were you going to say something, Vargir?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll probably go check up on old mate that we dropped off last night.
Interesting.
Tommy.
Okay.
Just knock on the door, make sure he's all right, not too hungover.
Sure. You approach the clan estate, and once again you are met with the iron gates around the front gardens. It looks like it's got a kind of like a padlock kind of thing. It doesn't look kind of janky. It looks proper, like, you know, even the padlock has a insignia on it. It looks very nice and iron and all that stuff. But there is that bell that you can ring if you so please.
Yeah, I'll give it a buzz.
Before you do, give me a perception check.
Sure. That is a 10.
10. You kind of just taken the essence of the house, and you do notice that just by the front door there is a what looks like a gnome with kind of some knee pads on, some gloves, and is just doing some gardening.
Hello?
Turns around, gives a wave.
I was just coming to check up and see if Tommy's all right. He was pretty out of it last night.
You see the gnome look around, kind of not suspiciously, but almost like making sure no one is there. Yeah. And then puts the spade down, takes off the gloves, and comes over to you, up to the fence. Sorry, who were you asking about?
Tommy.
Tommy. Yes, he lives here.
Yeah, I was just coming to check up and see if he was all right.
Well, why wouldn't he be?
Well, as I said, he got pretty drunk last night.
Well, are you going to tell us something we don't know? Seems like this is a common occurrence.
Like a regular thing. Okay. Well, does it seem like he's kind of like move on?
It seems like he's kind of like, who are you, and why are you kind of poking your nose in here?
Right. Name's Vargir. Just tell him I stopped by to check up on him.
Oh, I'd be surprised if he remembered you.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
As I'll make my way off.
He kind of like looks at you as you kind of start walking off, and don't bother coming back here again. It's not worth it.
I kind of nod and keep walking.
You see him quickly go back to the garden, put his gloves back on, and start working again while looking around to make sure. Almost roll me an insight check.
That's a 13.
13. He definitely seems like he doesn't want to be caught not working. Okay. And the interaction, at least to you, it didn't feel like you've had people that are not fans of you before. that didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like he was like, oh my god, a bugbear, get out of here. It was almost like, just don't bother putting your nose around here. It's not going to do any good. Just get out of here.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I won't pry any for now.
Okay.
Any longer.
Ghost or Hera, did you have anything you wanted to do specifically?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to walk out of House Tarasco, kind of get a beat on what everyone else is going to go do, and then kind of think to myself for a minute and realize I know nothing to very little about Khorvaire. So I want to go back to the library. And this time I'm going to take, who is it, Hera's advice or Molokov's advice, and talk to the clerk.
Oh, sure, yes.
And ask him if he has any historical records of the, like up-to-date records of the like ruling parties or leadership system in Khorvaire.
Sure. That Hera will introduce you to, or if it's not going along, will tell you that Hisna is the gnome there. And as you go in, he will... I'll just bring up my Khorvairan facts. So as you walk in, he will be sorting out some books behind the shelf before levitating up onto the counter and go, oh, hello, and welcome to the city library. How may I help you?
Hey, thanks. I was here before, but not fortunate enough to meet you. I'm looking for some information. Going on a bit of a got a job helping the House Jarosco deliver some aid to Khorvaire, and I really know nothing about it. Just want to be prepared for what we're getting into.
Oh, that's a fair way away from here.
It's a short trek, it is.
His eyes kind of widen. He's like, "You're walking?"
Thankfully, no. We're fortunate enough to use Jarosco's airships.
Oh, a man of luxury. Well, yes, I might have information for you.
Just anything on their on who runs the show, and perhaps anything to watch out for in the jungles.
Wow. So my question is, are you asking him, or are you asking him for books that might tell you this stuff?
Asking him for books, it just really just point in the right direction. But if he decides to tell me anything off the top of his nose, then
well, that's more what I'm asking. Are you asking him whether he knows, or are you going, where can I find this information?
Where can I find some information on this? Yeah.
Sure. Well, it depends what you're after, but let me collect a few things for you. And he will zip off through the library. He'll bring you back 2 or 3 kind of tomes. They look very bland, but you could probably get that this has facts in it rather than stories. You're welcome to one of the tables, or you can rent out a room for the day for 10 gold, if you so please.
Just a table that we find.
Oh, sure. Shows you over to one. So you can give me just a straight intelligence check if you're spending a bit of time reading over that.
Ooh. I would love to. How does that cock? It's the one dice I have that can't do that.
What a sentence.
That's better. 11 plus 4, 15.
Oh, that's not too bad. So you kind of flick through these tomes. They've got a bit of dust on them. You know, not many people like reading straight non-fiction. But you find a few dates in there and stuff like that. And the general gist you get on it's only a couple of hours you've got reading this.
Yep.
Khorvaire is quite a dangerous frontier nation. One thing you've already picked up. You also have a bit of knowledge from your living quite close to the region. It is recognized by the Treaty of the Thronehold, which is what stopped the last war, which is when everyone went, right, we're stopping, but everyone can kind of keep their pieces of land. There's no one king of the continent anymore, so on and so forth. So Khorvaire got its own region.
Yeah.
It is ruled by Duke Keslan.
Teslan? Teslan?
No, K for Kelly. Esslan.
Cool.
Who is a dragonborn of the gold scale color. And you also read that although New Throne, sorry, I was saying Adaport, that's the docking city. New Throne is the capital.
Yeah.
New Throne was founded by the Dragonborn that are quite native to the jungles, and they have set up their own city structure. They do not have, even though they have a duke, it is more kind of like a prime minister, and they have a very heavily diplomatic government, if you want to call it that.
It's almost democratic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Do I pick up anything reading through this, because I'm assuming it's mentioning scale colors a fair bit? Does it seem like there's a hierarchy to scale color?
There is not a hierarchy to scale color, but you do notice a few different popping up, and it's a bit hard to describe, but you won't find it directly in this book, but in another world, in another time, Dragonborns were hired into the army because of their skills. Black Dragonborns were the assassins, Red Dragonborns were the vanguard, so on and so forth. But
yeah,
it seems in this society, that's kind of put to the side, but also your color you can kind of own and be present in that. But again,
so it's like, yeah, okay, cool. That's really interesting.
What were you going to say?
So it's like communities, for lack of a better term, based on color. So there's not racial differences, but like the Black Dragonborn might all have a thing that they're really into. The Red prefer to go like hang out for the Red Dragonborn type of thing.
Not so much hang out, but there will be traces of their ancestral color. So yeah. Red Dragonborns will be naturally better at something else.
Understood, yeah.
But that does not stop them from being a banker or a fighter or a trader or anything.
Kind of like the tribes in Naruto, like you've got the Uzumaki and Uchiha, but they still mingle. But
yes,
they've got their thing.
Yeah. From what you're reading, it is very much they don't see the color of the scales. They see that a Dragonborn is almost more superior than a non-Dragonborn.
Cool. Good to know.
But reading into it, one thing New Throne has struggled with since the war is the Dragonborn got given New Throne, or they built New Throne when they got given the region. That is probably the strongest stronghold in the region, and they suffer quite a lot from raiders of kobold marauders, lizard folk, monstrous dinosaurs, and one of the sentences that stands out to you is Khorvaire is a land for the brave and the tenacious. Get out of here.
Tell me to get out of here. You cannot tell me you can put that in as a fucking little...
How many tenacious?
30.
Just 30. Oh, mate.
Interesting. Okay, and then I'll kind of skip over that and see if there's like a Jungles of Khorvaire guidebook or some like exploration notes or something for common hazards and dangers.
That's gonna he wouldn't have given you that.
Right.
So give me any one of your intelligence modifiers will suffice.
It's not going to be strong. I'd probably say it's investigation.
Yep, that's fine.
So 12.
Unfortunately, you don't find a guide to Kabara. It doesn't seem like that exists in this specific library.
That's fair. Having kobold, lizard folk, and dinosaur raids being a thing is good information.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'd like to do is, before heading to the doctor's, return to House Jurassico and go and talk to Dr. Cornelius Dunfar.
Sure. So you will be the first to arrive back. Actually, Hera, did you want to do anything specific during the day?
Not really. I probably would have gone with Puck to check the mail.
Yep.
And then probably just head back to the Golden Dragon and started putting things together and getting ready to make tricks.
Nice. So yeah, Ghost, you are the first to arrive back before everyone else kind of will join you. Walking in, Dolores talks into her necklace, and Cornelius comes up from some steps. It looks like he's not come from the elevator. Looks like he's opened a door to the side, and it's steps that go down. He closes the door behind him and kind of waddles over to you. Yes, I was expecting you. You didn't bring your friend with you this time, I see. I must apologize, of course, for that. He dabs the sweat off his forehead.
What's in the past is in the past. You're fine. Besides, I hear you're doing a good service for us in our journey ahead as well.
Yes. I've been instructed to word you up on some of the. Yeah, follow me. And he turns around and starts walking back to the door.
Hey, follow.
Opens this door. As you see, he kind of puts a key in, turns it, and you see the door kind of just give a shimmer over it. It seems like the key unlocked a bit more than just a padlock. Opens up, and there's steps that go down. Now, you must understand. Please don't be coming in here when there are eyes on you. It's not all for the public to see what we've got going on down below. As he starts walking down some stairs, you see him. He goes to reach for the handrail, but it's almost like he's just keeping his hand out there just in case he needs it. He's not actually touching it. But he continues down the stair, and you can see like the back of his head is quite damp with how much he is sweating.
Is it particularly hot down here?
Not really. It's actually getting a bit cooler.
Just a nervous fella.
Yeah. But
okay.
After about 3 sets of stairs, he goes to one of the side rooms, and it doesn't actually have a label on the door, but you do notice down the corridor there are about 4 or 5 other doors down here, especially one at the end, which looks like another staircase door. But opens the door, and you walk into this room that is lined on the shelves with the classic, Disney alchemy room. There are little beakers that have pipes that go into other ones, and it's bubbling, and then it goes around in a loop-de-loop, and then it comes back, and there's lines of potions and a couple of pots boiling in the corner, and he has a desk with a bunch of notes spread out all over it. In front of the notes...
Quite the alchemist.
Yes. I try to mix concoctions together to help the being and the owner of whoever they are, whatever foes they are facing. I prepared a few for you, and I've also been instructed, if you so please to purchase any from me, then I can cut you a deal as sorts. Your money would be going back to House Jurassico and the endeavors of what we are doing. Goes over to his... it seems very rehearsed, what he's saying. Yeah. Goes over to the table and picks up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 vials of quite... it almost looks like a gas. It's liquid, but it's very light, and it's a very dark green tint to it. Here is a potion that will once taken for the next hour, or maybe even a little bit longer sometimes, you will be resistant to anything poison, damage, or inhalation, or exposure to the skin. Well, I got instructed to make 2 for each of you. So since your friends are not here, I suppose I'll give them all to you.
Sure enough, I can distribute them. Do you think this will really help against the infection?
Well, from what I've been reading, if you're careful, then you might only get the infection if you come into physical contact with someone with it.
So the running theory is that it's some sort of toxin.
I believe it could become that. At the moment, though, from the research we've got from the area, although it's bloody hard to get any information out of there when they don't want to give it, it is physical contact at the moment that'll help it spread.
Right. So don't touch the infected.
As much as you can. Or maybe he kind of like turns around and opens a drawer. You could wear these. He just has a pair of leather gloves.
Just a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
It's not your personal pair, is it? Do you have some spares to sell?
Oh yes, I can resource my own gloves quite easily. Josco are very forthcoming when it comes to my research.
Well, I suppose a pair for each of us wouldn't go astray.
Sure. He goes over to like a cabinet and opens it up. And give me a perception check.
Roll better. Not better. Nah. 7.
7. You don't notice anything specific, but what you do notice is there's like one coat hanging in this cabinet. He shuffles down into one of the baskets and pulls out 4 pairs of gloves. But it's almost, you don't notice anything specific, but you notice that there isn't actually anything hanging in here. It seems like an empty closet kind of thing.
Right.
That's just what you notice as he closes it and goes, yes, so yeah, you can pass these on too. In talks of purchasing, a potion will be 30 gold a pop for now, and I have 4 on offer. And he describes to you a potion of climbing, a potion of comprehension, a potion of healing, and a potion of watchful rest are the 4 that he is offering.
Interesting.
Which I can read any of the descriptions if you would like.
I think I can get. I know 3 of them. What is the potion of comprehension?
I think your mic is switched or something. You're very quiet.
It's alright for me.
Oh no, so have you.
Yeah, you sound fine with me, Michael.
Yeah, microphone's still the same.
What have you done, Reese?
That's right.
So what was it? Climbing, comprehension, watch for rest, and what was the other one?
My headphones had come out of the socket.
Healing, thank you.
Can you repeat the last thing you said?
What is? I'm pretty sure I know what all of them do except for the potion of comprehension.
Comprehension. When you drink this potion, you gain the effect of a comprehend languages spell for 1 hour. This liquid is a clear concoction with bits of salt and soot swirling in it.
Wonderful.
I think they really missed a trick, and it really should have been like a vegetable soup. But not a vegetable, an alphabet soup, sorry.
Alphabet soup, yeah.
They've been too good.
That would have been great. I think what I'll do is I will buy 1 of each of the potion of climbing, the potion of comprehension. Ooh. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yep, and 2 potions of watchful rest.
Yep. So watchful rest isn't the gaining rest one.
It's the you're able to rest while staying alert.
Correct.
Yeah. I remember those from the Tenacious 3. I could actually make them. They came in handy.
Yeah. And you can't be magically put to sleep.
Yes. Oh, that's neat.
Which could be used offensively as well, if you so choose.
Yeah. I will ask him.
Yep.
We're going into a jungle, and my experience of being in dangerous wooded places is sometimes you need a quick way to buy yourself some time. I'm wondering if you stock any alchemical fire.
Oh, you seem like kind of get a bit surprised at that. I have not thought about dabbling into that kind of concoctions, but I can see if I can put something together by the end of the day. Let me. He goes over to his notes and kind of like starts reading over them. Yes, maybe I might be able to.
Just if it's convenient, unless you've got any other smart ideas, as to what could help us in a jungle wooded situation.
No. Well, there could be. He kind of like looks like he's like looking into his own brain and just
memory bank. He's gone to his mind palace.
Yeah. But otherwise, I don't have anything on hand. I'm sorry. Please don't report it back to Shapiro. I'll work on something for you. I promise.
Report to Ship. You. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really not as abrasive as I might seem. It's all right. You're fine.
Yes, you've already said that. Thank you. She dabs away.
Right. I mean, I suppose I'll check in again later.
Yes.
You know what? Maybe just keep it in the back of your mind for when we're next around.
Okay, sure. If I come up with something, I'll meet you by the harbor before we leave.
You're brilliant man, Cornelius.
Gives a kind of a nod and just kind of like doesn't know what to do with his hands or stand as you kind of just the interaction is over and he's not quite sure how to compute the next move.
So should I show myself out or?
No. I'll walk with you. And he kind of tidies up a bit of the notes, walks out, locks the door behind him, and then walks you towards the stairs.
Wonderful. I'll pay him the 120 gold for the 4 potions.
Yep. And for that potion of healing, it is just a common one. Yep. So that's 2d4 plus 2.
I actually didn't buy a potion of healing.
Oh, sorry. Don't worry then.
I already have one, funnily enough.
Nice.
But I bought the other things, so I'll note that down.
All right. He shows you back up to the main lobby. Safe travels if I don't see you again, and hopefully we'll be having more interactions.
I'd love to buy you a drink sometime. You seem like you got some stories to tell. I'm sure there's some crazy inventions up in that head of yours.
Oh, yes. Yes, that sounds really great. I would love to go for a drink sometime.
Oh, when we get back then, I'll tell you a little bit about the things I've created in the past. Perhaps we could work together sometimes. Man, with your alchemical knowledge and my tinkering.
That'd be wonderful. Yes.
It's a deal then. Catch you when we get back.
Gives like a kind of an awkward nod, and then just turns around and not runs, but hastily walks back to the door and see it open and close behind you. I'd say at this point the rest of the party are arriving in the lobby.
I have some gifts for you lot. She's carrying like a leather pouch, just absolutely stocked. There's like a pair of gloves sticking out the side, and it's just clinkling. Who wants Jarasco's finest?
Finest what?
I thought that was us.
Oh, well said, sir. No, I don't know if I'm being serious or not, but here, this is what the good Dr. Cornelius has rustled up for us. I believe we've got 2 potions each. of poison resistance.
Correct.
He's also got another couple of interesting things if anyone's interested. A couple of climbing potions, watchful rest. I'll explain.
Yep.
Got some for myself, but if any of you are interested in purchasing, now'd be the time to ask the good doctor.
So they're anticipating this is a poison?
That's what I asked. They're not 100% sure. So far, it seems that the main method of transmission is contact.
I'll look at Vargir's glaive and maul and go, well, good thing some of us like to get up in their face.
I don't imagine we're going to have to be fighting anyone who has the silent death. We've only got 48
Depends who's
hours
trying
to
to
live.
spread it.
That's a good point. But give you all a pair of gloves. Use them if you want them.
How well do they fit all of our varied shapes and forms?
That, not so well.
Okay.
Cornelius is a dwarf, and yeah, his gloves were made to fit him.
Molokov's got like 2 different sized hands anyway. So.
I think your right one will be all right. Just putting that out there.
Just don't rub your eyes afterwards.
Well, I was thinking about that though, but like, isn't it still the same concept of hands? Like, you're still, you're not absorbing the disease through your hand. It's because it's on your hand. You're touching your face.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
No, hold on to the note. Don't.
So did we get 2 potions of poison resistance?
Yep.
it's the one.
Was it 2 each?
Yep.
2 each. Yeah.
They last for an hour.
That's for now.
That's cool.
A couple of other things I learned today is Khorvaire is mostly democratic, led by a man named Duke Kesslin, dragonborn with gold scales, and for the most part, New Throne's a stronghold, but kind of the only stronghold over in Khorvaire. They have problems with raiders, lizard folk, and creatures called dinosaurs, which you'd be a little more familiar with, Puck. The big ones.
Yes, I imagine they're not the friendly type.
So things to be watchful for in the jungles.
Sounds fun.
Anyone else find out anything interesting?
Puck would definitely be looking uneasy, but shakes his head, hasn't learned anything new.
Molokov just sort of wipes off some grime from his head.
Yeah.
Nothing to
How is it possible you've left for a day and you look worse than when you did when you walked in here this morning?
Excuse you.
Look, we're going on a trip. You could have given yourself a bath.
I was very tempted to start doing that. No.
Well, if that's all we've all got.
And it's probably mid-afternoon, heading towards evening now anyway.
I suppose we make our way to the docks.
If there's nothing else to do.
Ready if you are.
Make ourselves familiar with the captain.
Yeah, would be waiting for us down there.
I'll imagine there'll probably be like people loading up the airship down there. So once we get down there, I'll probably just jump in and help them load up the ship.
Sure. So you head down to the harbour, and all the markets and stalls and stuff are closing down for the day. People are bringing down the awnings, they're closing the shop windows, and so on and so forth. It's still a little bit of a hustle and bustle, but as the sun is kind of setting over the lake, you notice that everything is kind of winding down for the day. When you do get to the lightning tower at the docks, there are a couple of boats on the water, so it looks like lake travel is also an option. But you do see a couple of crates being loaded onto a slightly bigger airship than you were on last time. Still has the Griffin up the front, and 3 sails that go, like 2 small ones at the front and back and 1 big one in the center, along with some of the electrical energy that's starting to kind of hum around it to get it flying. But a couple of crates are being loaded on, and you do see Shapiro kind of giving a bit of guidance just at the foot of the ship as the ramp goes up to it. Oh, well, welcome. I was wondering when you would show up. Did you go and see Cornelius?
It's very helpful. It's quite a setup he has down there.
Yes, he can make use when he wants to be. But yes, a very good addition to the team. I'm hoping that he gave you everything that you needed.
Everything and more. Well, at least with the information we've got.
Wonderful. Very glad to hear it. Well, we're just loading the last of the stuff on now. And while I search up the name.
Stares off into the distance and his eyes go glassy.
He's just receiving a sending.
Onus. Onus. O-N-I-S. Onus is just prepping the last of the paperwork. He will be our captain for this journey. And once he is ready, I suppose there's no better way than to set sail.
What's the name of this vessel?
This vessel, I do have that as well. Where did I write it down? It is the Alara. A-L-A-R-A.
I'm also suspecting our mounts. Are they coming? Is Obek and Swiftscale coming on the ship with us?
Well, if you do wish to bring them, there is a compartment up the front that we have provided for. It has some cargo in it, but we're more than happy to do a quick run for some hay, and if you wish to bring them on.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
And Swiftgirl as well.
Yep. If everyone else is bringing their mounts, he'll come.
He kind of like shows you up onto the ship, and it's got quite a like almost a central platform, and then it steers up to where the steering wheel the captain sits, and then kind of steers up to like a front area which has a almost grate on the ground that has some stairs down into this cargo hold. We figured you would want to be close by to your companions, so we have sorted out rooms for you just adjacent to this, and he shows you a door that opens up into 2 rooms, each with a couple of beds in them, a couple of chests and cabinets and stuff like that. Again, we've put this together throughout the day, so it's not all matching and aesthetic, but it will do the job for the trip. I will be on the other side with the captain. Our quarters will be underneath the steering wheel. So if you need anything, please feel free to come over and let us know. But I'm assuming we will be, communicating and dining and eating together along the journey as well, unless you don't want me around.
I'm sure we'll have many interesting conversations.
Well, looking forward to it. Now, I've just got to sort out a couple more things. Please, make yourselves at home. And he kind of goes off to finish off one more thing with the clerk down by the harbour, or the lightning tower.
I jump up to the captain's position, just kind of stand behind the wheel and take a look out over the front of the ship.
quite an interesting view for you standing here, looking up over a vessel standing behind the wheel.
Probably looking between the spokes and the wheel.
Yep.
Because I'm sure. Just chill out there for a bit.
As you do, you feel a kind of shadow kind of creep up behind you. Not creep up, but just your vision kind of darkens a little bit as you notice that someone's standing behind you.
Hand almost instinctively goes for the gun, but turns around.
Turn around and you see a very slender, tall elf with one pointed ear and one ear that's kind of obviously been cut by something, and you can see the scar that goes down the side of the face as well. Deep green eyes and almost a receding hairline, but then it goes into real long blonde locks. A very captain-esque coat on, a few gold buttons, and then just a little soul patch below his mouth. As Onus, the elf, will go, "Well, if I knew you'd be flying the thing, I wouldn't have got out of bed this morning."
Hardly. I can barely reach the bottom pegs.
It's not all about
like it's-
size and stature that can drive an airship.
Imagine it comes with experience.
Much.
Nice to meet you. You must be honest.
That I am. And you must be Ghost.
Oh, already well acquainted, I see. I reach out my hand.
It reaches down and shakes it. Very similar to Josu's handshake. It's very firm. Opposed to his very kind of, it almost looks like he's not a stick, but he's got a very slender arm. And it just kind of takes you by surprise, the grip that he has. Yes, a good pirate or captain doesn't not read his brief before the day's out. That I have learned over many years.
I like the Freudian slip there. You must be a very well experienced man then.
Oh, some lawful jobs, some not. Whatever pays the coin, I say.
Been with Drasko long?
Kind of like, I would say about 3-4 years.
How are you finding it?
Well, they treat me very well.
Hey. They pay handsomely.
It's not always about pay, though. Gives you a wink. If you excuse me, and he kind of pushes you to the side.
Yep.
And he starts, like, adjusting some of the cogs and stuff on the thing.
I'll pay a little bit of attention to what he's doing.
Okay, investigation, please.
17.
17. What he's doing seems very technical, but makes sense. Looks like he's unlocking things so that gears can move. He's unknotting things so that the steering wheel can rotate. It's preparation stuff.
Yeah, I will just take a beat on it to kind of, I suppose, for future reference, I'll try and watch more and more of this. So if in a pinch I had to fly an airship, I could have a better shot at getting it started.
Sure.
But
you probably notice that not only do you have left and right, you've got up and down, you've got start and stop, you've got kind of it's very three-dimensional.
Yeah. Actually, I was hoping to run into you. I had a couple of questions, if you don't mind answering.
You see him kind of stop just in the middle of doing something, and you see that he's obviously going through a checklist in his head. And he takes mental note of where he's up to, and then he stops and turns around to you.
Have you been through Khorvaire much?
I have flown over. I've never stopped in the place.
So you wouldn't have a trusted harbor master or a friend down there?
You'll quickly learn that trusting people on the ground is not always the best option.
You mean in general?
He just smiles.
Well, that ruins all of my follow-up questions. Sorry, let you get back to your checklist.
He grins at you, and you notice that one of his teeth is like a bit of a more silvery color.
I like him already.
He goes back, and you see him kind of put his hands up to where they were, takes a beat, and then starts going back to doing things.
I'll just kind of go off and sit 10 feet away.
Sure.
Just watching over his shoulder and waiting.
Shapiro will finish up with the clerk and goes up, talks to Onus for a little bit, comes back to the center of the deck. Right, well, I believe we're all set to go. I'll give the anchor up signal, and we can get on our way. By now, the sun is pretty much set, but if everyone is all ready to go, and gives a nod, moves over to the side of the ship, gives his hand up for a wave, and then gives like a stop signal. Well, this is a bit unexpected. He kind of stands up and almost stands to attention as you hear clock, clock, clock up the ramp. You see the bearded, red-glassed figure, Josu, approaching the deck. As he kind of does that thing where he glides with heavy intent. Now, I'm sorry for stopping the vessel from going, but may I have a quick word with our little friend? And he makes eye contact with you, Puck.
Look around behind me. Yes.
No.
I'll walk over.
Please. He kind of like steps a bit to the side. You see Shapiro kind of just busy himself with tightening some of the ropes on the side. Josu, he doesn't bend down to you, but he kind of like does that, kind of takes one knee back, but his upper body is still very upright as he kind of faces you, so he's facing his back to the rest of the party.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that one of yours is already in our employ.
Yes.
Well, I have some good news. He's made contact.
Well, that is good news. Is he all right?
He is. A bit of trouble he ran into where he was off comms for a while. As you know already, we were getting quite worried, but he's assured me that he is about to make his way back. It will take maybe a week or two, but hopefully he'll be around when you're back for a bit of a homecoming.
That will be interesting. Thank you. I'm a lot calmer. Thank you.
I thought that would relax you. But rest assured, we will treat him with wine and food on his arrival, and you can join him when you get back from that horrid jungle.
I'll have to make sure I do get back. Thank you.
That you will. And he gives a kind of a smirk. Well now, safe travels, and he stands up and kind of addresses that to the whole party. I'm not jealous in the slightest of you going to this dangerous terrain on my behalf. But I thank you nonetheless.
That's making me feel real confident about it.
Gives a slight grin. Shapiro, I'll leave you in charge of these fine adventurers. And he turns around and glides back down the ramp. Shapiro gives a nod. Yes, of course. Well, all right. Anchor's up. And you hear the ramp get pulled up onto the deck. The sounds of ropes kind of doing that tight, like croning and creaking as they're released from hooks. And you hear the hum of the engine boom, boom, start whirling up. You see the blue eminence of magic kind of start to surround the ship as you feel that little sink in your stomach as it kind of shifts gravity from being attached to being free floating in the air. The sails start getting wrenched up and they start to fill in with a little bit of wind, as the essence of air elementals circles through the ship. The ship starts turning, and Onus turns the steering wheel. As he does with his very thin frame, he has great control over this wheel. It's very smooth, and you feel the ship turning around as you kind of look over Staraluska as it's going into its evening state.
That's a pretty damn nice view.
Oh, yes. You think that's nice. You wait till we crest the clouds. Oh no, I would recommend holding on to something for this bit. And you see him kind of move over to a post and hold on.
Definitely do the same.
Go find a rope or something to...
Sure. As you are now facing away from the port, the ship starts tilting, and you feel it's only a couple of degrees, but you feel, you know, everything kind of shift a little bit, and maybe one loose ball bearing kind of rolls down the deck. But as the ship starts pulling out of the dock, you don't get thrown back, but you feel the force kind of giving that tug as you start your ascent. Looking out over the lake, you start to take in the scenery around. You can see some forest out in the distance. You can see across the lake a couple of little orange glows of where maybe estates or little villages might be. And the thrum of the engine propels you up into the sky. As you start to hit the clouds, there's this orange kind of ish glow. Can everyone give me a perception check?
Six.
Always feels like a waste, but that's a nat 20 for a 24.
Yeah, also
10.
a 6.
And Hera?
So 30, 20.
Nice. So, well, the three of you with the low rolls, you're kind of holding on, you're looking out over to the sunset. You kind of take it, it's a lot to take in, especially for those that have not flown before. Ghost, I believe you had been on airships before, but probably in the past, probably as a passenger, the classic teenager looking at their device or something, not really taking much into it. But Molokov and Vargir, this is quite extraordinary going out. Puck and Hera, you see that as you start to go higher and higher, the clouds start to become closer and closer. And you start to hit the point where the ship, on the edges and on the banisters, the clouds start wisping around them. It's that kind of aerodynamic flow, the vapor moves around. But Puck, you probably notice it first, is that you almost see a form and then it disappears. And Hera, you see almost a wisp of a tail and then it disappears. And you both would probably notice each other, notice this as well.
Do you see that?
I think so. I'm not quite sure what I saw. It was hopefully we get through these clouds pretty quickly.
Yes. Captain,
Onus looks down.
there are shapes in these clouds.
Gives a big grin, and that's when you see about 3 or 4 silver teeth inside his mouth, and he goes, well, you're going to love this. And he kind of like slows the ship and then accelerates it a bit more to create more of the wisps and stuff around the side, and you see forms of what look like what's the word? Not tubby cats, but like the big round cats that aren't slinky. They're really don't know the term of it.
Fat?
Yeah, but isn't there a type of cat that's tabby cat?
Tabby's like
Tabby.
color though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Big round fat
It's like-
cats sitting on the banisters, made of cloud form, and they give a purr, and before they disappear, and then you see on the other side of the ship a couple of them just like slinking across the banister before wisping themselves underneath and up the top. And Onus will go, the cloud cats do like to come out at sunset, and they show off the ships into the sky. Feel free to say hi. As he like gives a grin and pulls it up even more, and you again feel the shift of the gravity. But you see now 4, 10, 15 cloud cats all perching around the ship, up on the sails, just doing cat things that they do not care about the world around them.
I feel you.
Absolutely, I will go touch one of these cats.
You move up to one, Vargeir, and it looks
A
at
little
you.
bit of Seb as well.
Yeah,
That photo's perfect, Seb.
it sits on the middle banister. Yeah, that's exactly what you'd see. Looks up at you, and as it goes to meow, you see like it kind of like pushes out a little rain cloud that just whoosh, does a little a rain on the on the banister.
I'll look at hello. I'll look at the captain. I'll look back at the cat. Hello.
It'll like kind of arc its neck towards you. Are you reaching out your hand?
As it arcs its neck, yeah, sure.
Yeah. You reach out your hand and it almost wisps around your hand, and then it's up on your shoulder. And it nuzzles into you, and you can feel the slight dampness of like a dew on your fur.
Yeah, Varga's gonna love this. He's gonna sit down.
And as you sit down, it wisps around and moves to the other shoulder, and you're not getting damp at all. It's just that real light, like fog in the morning feeling.
Wet. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Is anyone else interacting?
Yeah, Puck will just sit down and put his hand out and wait. See if anything comes over to him.
You see about 2 kind of coming from opposite sides of the deck as they move along, and behind them you see the deck, the wood color just kind of slightly shifts to a bit of a darker color as they leave a little bit of residue behind them. But they eventually come up and both plonk themselves in front of you, 1, 2, looking at you expectingly.
Yeah, I'll put my hand out and just sort of put it towards them and let them kind of rub their own self against the stationary hand kind of thing.
Almost in a mirror image, they both do it on the opposite side, and they seem to be copying each other as they do.
What are you? I'll sort of start like trying to talk to it and like just sort of investigating it. There's like looking at how its feet kind of are touching it, but also like just aren't real, like aren't there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as you pat it, you feel the dampness on your hand, but also it doesn't feel cold. It doesn't feel horrid. It's almost like a warm shower feeling that you just kind of, your shoulders drop that inch and you relax a bit.
Yeah, a lot of the tension that he's been feeling for the last day or two sort of melting out of him, and he's just sort of, just taking this moment to enjoy himself.
Yeah.
Ghost is gonna, from up the top of the deck, go and wind up the little mechanical spider, cast the light spell on it, and just let it run across the deck.
You see the spider run across the deck, and 3 or 4 kind of jump down, and you see the color shift from a white cloud to a bit of a darker color as they crouch down and they start slinking across the deck. And as they do, there is a definite wet trail behind them as your spider runs across the deck, and 5 more join in, and there's now like a little league soccer game as they chase the ball around, and your spider reverses back and they come round, and then your spider returns to you, and you look up and 10 cats jump through you, and you get a wash of water.
Well,
as you stand there dripping now.
I gotta admit, they're adorable. Ah,
Can I
that's
go?
gonna get cold later.
Can I go see Obak?
Sure.
Is there any around Obak?
There is about 40 around Ovak, sitting on and around him, and Swiftscale is kind of just like side-eyeing this whole interaction from the other side.
Fucking love it. I'm gonna stay with Obak and the
Sure.
cloud cat.
That's as
fun,
you
man.
increase in altitude, playing with these, you do notice, I'll say Molokov, as you haven't. Oh, amazing, Jed. As you haven't specifically interacted with them, you kind of look towards the back of the ship as Ghost gets drenched, and you kind of look around and see Puck sitting down and Vargir interacting with Obak. Behind the ship, you see the sun setting in its yellow glow. But what's odd to you is that it's almost like there are two suns setting. And the more you kind of focus, you can see, just as you're now leaving the clouds, that cloud layer, like when a plane goes through, you see the two yellow eyes of a gargantuan cloud cat just sitting back in the distance, watching all of its little forms interact with the ship. And it kind of just locks eyes with you for not caring again and turning back into the clouds as all the cats kind of jump off the ship and disappear and puff out, and some run to the front and do a nosedive as you finally exit the clouds, and you are now quite high up. You look below and Staraluska is that but a point down below.
Can we see any hexagons on the land?
Yes, it's actually automatically divided up.
Wow.
But I will quickly show you on the map the journey you are taking. So you're going.
Can I just say that takeoff music was perfect when we were heading out? That was so beautiful.
That's the journey you're taking.
48 days.
I know. So remember, day is an hour's travel.
Hours travel because we're on the ship.
For this.
48 hours.
So 1 second, I'm just going to close the door.
Can't have any of those cats.
Should we do like a quick coffee tea break?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
What?
I can make myself a quick coffee tea.
Oh,
break.
we want a break.
I'll just
Right.
make myself a miso.
All right, let's.
Right before that happens,
Yeah, go on.
as we breach the clouds and Ghost is kind of wiping himself off, this kind of chill.
He's frozen.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
It really chills him out.
Maybe we will go for a break.
Timing.
We will
We'll
hear
come
from
back.
him when we come back from the break.
We'll come back and it will unfreeze. And we'll hear the whole
Yeah.
sentence in like times 2.
Oh man.
That was great. That was.
an Etten that hit me. It got a natural 20. The total still didn't beat my AC, but because it was a nat 20, it still killed me, and I was so pissed off. I was like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It didn't actually break my AC, but like, that's
It's one of those things where it's like, if you give it to the players, you got to give it to the monsters as well.
No, absolutely. It's just frustrating when you're like, oh, but it's because realistically, how often does a nat 20 not beat
Correct
an AC? Because you're usually adding at least 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Like,
if you're versing,
the other
versing,
side has to get it.
You're versing things with higher AC than 25. You probably should be at the level where a natural 20 could hit it.
Yeah.
But obviously, those stories are yet to come for this party.
Oh, goodness.
Alrighty, so as you ascend close to the stratosphere, you are flying well high above the ground. Ghost, you had something you were thinking or talking about as you exited the clouds?
Yeah, kind of coming above the clouds and having a clear view of. I imagine I was looking sort of west, southwest, down towards where Star Alaska was.
Yep.
I kind of get a chill run up my spine, and I turn and face east, directly towards where the mists would be, and just see what I can see.
So you want to see what you can see? Give me a perception check at disadvantage.
Ooh.
Remember, we are heading into night now.
That's okay at disadvantage. 14.
14. As the rest of the party are just kind of coming off the interaction of the cats, you head over to the side of the ship and look out and just take a moment to look east. You can see down below, you know, now that you've come through the clouds, there are kind of a smattering of clouds. It's not thick cloud cover. But being a fantasy world, although there are magical essences powering light bulbs and stuff like that, there's not a lot in between towns, so the ground becomes quite dark. But you look out and you can see spots of where you could probably point out some things, and just on the cusp before it goes completely dark into nighttime, you see a shimmer. It doesn't look like a fog, doesn't look like a mist. It looks like on a desert road when it's too hot. A shimmer. And you can't quite see past it, and you believe that is probably where the mists start.
Mm.
But you're straining your eyes now to see that far.
It's just dark.
It's just dark.
Kind of strains a little bit and then just shakes his head. Lets it go. Should have brought a jacket. Didn't realize it'd be this cold up here.
In saying that, you do look kind of over to Onus, and you see that his cloak is fur-lined, and he is wrapped up for the climate, and the rest of you do now kind of get that feeling of a temperature dropping quite quickly. It's the airship does have capacity of, you know, it's a magical vessel, and it will keep a little bit of warmth. You're not going to all freeze to death up here, but it still is. You're outside at night, up in the air.
I think I'm just gonna like kind of make a little hay couch on Obak and keep warm with him.
Sure. Obak does produce quite a lot of warmth, especially amongst all the fur as well. Even though it might be a little bit damp because of the encounter, you kind of wipe it off a bit, and yeah, you can snuggle into Obak. Unfortunately for you, Puck, Swiftscale does not provide the same warmth.
No. He is cold-blooded. We have rooms though, don't we?
You do.
Is there any heating in the room?
As you go in, you do notice that like kind of the walls are emitting a little bit of heat. It's not comfort, but using the essence of fire elementals, there will be pipes going throughout the ship that kind of allow for the rooms to be a normal temperature.
Yeah, cool. I will bunk up next to the warmest room I can find, the warmest wall I can find.
Sure. You go and try all the beds. in Goldilocks fashion, and you find the warmest one right by the outlet of the...
which is probably also the biggest bed for the smallest member.
Yes.
Is this kind of like when it's like 3 degrees outside and you hop in your car and you turn the aircon on to like 20, and for some reason that's like, it's not warm, but
Correct.
It's definitely warmer than you would just wear, and it just feels better. Yeah.
You would still wear a sweatshirt, you would still wear a coat or something like that, maybe not in bed. The blankets suffice, but yeah, it's like you're turning the aircon on, but only onto one. So it will warm up, and it has obviously been warming up on the whole ascent into the sky. But this is probably about as warm as it's going to get.
Breaks the cold rather than warms you up.
Correct. Yes. But it is becoming dark outside, and you can see the stars above you. But Shapiro kind of calls it a night and says that he'll take retreat back to his quarters, and Onus will fly through the night.
Do you need a watch or anything? Should we be concerned?
To Onus?
Hey, yeah, sure.
Kind of looks down to you and goes, "You're feel free to keep me company. I can yell out quite loudly if anything does happen. There are things that can happen up in the air. Quite dangerous things, actually. Might want to sleep with one eye open." Gives you a bit of a grin.
I tend to do that anyway. Hey, give me a minute, and I'll go down. I'll see that Puck's managed to fit himself into the largest bed. Like, grab a blanket off another one, and we'll like wrap up one end and like wrap it around my neck, and walk back out to the deck, and go and chill out with Onus for the first sort of watch period.
Sure. What's everyone else doing?
I think I very much just like sitting with Obak.
Yep.
Looking at the stars, admiring the fact that I'm flying.
So Obak and Swiftscale are they're in a compartment with a grate above them. So you could be like lying on Obak and looking up through the grate into the stars. So you're not actually on deck.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine. I might occasionally like until I'm sleeping, I might occasionally like pop out and look.
Sure.
You know, like when when the first time you're on a plane and you're like looking, going, what the hell?
Yeah, you want to look out the windows.
Sleep on there, and
yeah, nice. And yeah, it is taking in quite a lot for you, Vargir, as you're not now on the run from something as you were the first time you were on an airship. This is almost like you're traveling to a destination, but you know the time it's going to take. You know you're with your friends. You've got Obak here, and yeah, you do. You look over the side a couple of times, and you now don't see the speed you're going at because you're so high. The land is moving beneath you, but it's slow, and you can, even with your dark vision and your blind sight as well kind of kicks in a little bit, that like you just look down, you can almost see the outlines of the mountains. You can see the valleys and the river, and just the different colors just shift, right? Like to the normal human eye, it wouldn't look perceivable, but you can see, there's a clump of trees over there. Maybe there's beings that live in the treetops there, and then maybe they don't produce any light. Oh, there's a little dot of yellow. Maybe that's a traveling caravan. And your mind just starts playing these scenarios.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Anyone else, or are they setting up for bed?
Yeah, pretty much just setting up for bed.
Nice. And Hera?
Definitely taking in the wonder of the airship. More so the airship itself than the views and the...
Give me an investigation, Molokov. Just hold on to that thought, Hera.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You've read about airships and their use and how they work. This one, again, it's not massive. It's pretty big, 60-something feet across, and, it takes you a hot minute to get from one side to the other. But this one does not, as it seems, even if you look around, it does not seem to have like an engine room and a cooling room and a heating room. On the bigger airships, they actually house air elementals in their full form, not as prisoners, but as just using their energy kind of thing. Elementals,
more like a working relationship than a.
It's a very grey area in the world of
Right.
Eberron, just because elementals don't really have thoughts.
Right.
But at the you wouldn't. The bigger airships have housing places for their fire elementals, because if there wasn't a housing for the elemental, it would rip apart the ship.
Yeah.
But they don't mistreat it.
Or more like a force of nature than a
Correct.
Something that's yeah.
But this one doesn't seem to have that. It seems to have the essence of air elementals flowing through the sails. So there is no risk of something breaking out. This kind of just works, but therefore it can't travel faster, travel longer, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And just before he goes to bed, he sort of like flips his arm over. It's sort of like an awkward side of his arm. It was like a side project he half did.
Yeah.
And he's got like these lines of runes sitting up there, and he'll notice that one or two of them will be glowing in a particular strength. I actually know Druidcraft, so I'm checking the weather for the next 24 hours.
Nice.
Oh, very nice. As you kind of flip your arm around and almost like licking your finger and putting it up to the wind, I feel like that's what you look like, is just very awkwardly looking at your arm. And the way they line up is quite different than what you've seen normally, or the last time you checked it. It's not something you do often. And the way it displays to you is that because it's at such a different altitude, it's a bit hard to kind of gauge, and you kind of, oh, hold on, it says, precipitation, but of course there's going to be at this kind of thing, and you read it. But within this area, does it say a distance?
Nah, so hang on, let me... the way a druid would do it is make a little fucking cloud or something.
Yeah.
But ignoring the flavor part of it, the weather will be at your location. So I suppose it'll be something I periodically check rather than, for the next 24 hours.
Yeah. So as it reads here, and you do know that you are traveling at a bit of a speed, so you can kind of like forecast a little bit. It looks like there's some rain on the way.
Cool. Yeah, that's all right. Just wanted to... I think it'll be something that he sort of, while we're going, he will periodically just check up on, and just, if it suddenly like goes from like it might be raining to like there's gonna be wind and thunderstorms, like
cool. Alrighty. And Hera.
Also, I probably won't be doing much during the evening or anything, just sort of biding my time for what I'm waiting to do, but I'll probably wait until like everyone's sort of doing their own thing, and I'll see Molokov head down towards the rooms, just start getting ready, and I'll sort of follow him in there. Molokov?
Hera?
Now, I don't want to alarm you as such, if that's the right word, but there might be a little bit more of a reason that I was quite willing to go on this little mission.
Specifically to the jungle. This jungle.
Yes.
What did you find?
Well, you know that little book that I found, the one that I've been sort of reading quite thoroughly.
I have noticed.
May have actually mentioned a thing or two about this jungle. So I don't want to let out too much. I don't really know too much as well, but there could be quite a bit of information in there for us. And now I know we're trying to do things for the university, but I just don't necessarily want to get too many people involved in this, if that's okay with you.
Understood. Just to be clear, out of character, just the way the sentence you said, it could be very good for us. Are you and then you followed it up with the university? I know we've got somebody for the university. Are you saying us as in me and you as individuals? Like, 'cause I'm assuming Molokov would know you well enough to know what you're saying, but like, is it us as in me and you as individuals benefiting ourselves, or us as in our mission for the university?
I know you know me, but I'm going to ask you to roll an insight check.
Lovely.
This is what I asked for.
That's allowed.
It's a 13.
A 13.
There will be a day where I don't do anything and you guys just run the whole game.
Okay, no, you do know Hera quite well. She will say there is something there that could be quite there for us like me and you, but then says about the research for the university, almost like a reminder to herself, but we're actually, it's supposed to be for the university, you know, like,
Yeah.
I've almost had to remind myself that it's not for us, but
Yeah. It's just my work phone. I can ignore that on a Sunday.
but yeah, there is definitely, and at first response, or at first like glance, saying that it's could be interesting for us, or at least Hera seems quite interested in this thing, and then almost has to remind herself that there is a mission for the university as well.
Yeah. What do you what sort of things are you hoping to find there? Things for you? Things for me?
Well, sort of look off for a second. Well, possibly things for me, but I think it could be helpful for lots more people. Or at least that's what I think I understand. I'll show you a couple of notes here, and I'll sort of not in great detail, but I will give like a couple little names, like the Yellow Emperor, and just like a little bit of what I got from the book. Not necessarily about the resurrection side of it, but more like the healing abilities. And I'll sort of just like approach it as more of a tale sort of thing, like like I'm not really believing it sort of thing, like a myth, a legend sort of thing, as opposed to being like, this is the guy that I think's gonna be here. This is what he's capable of. It'll just be like a there's tales that there's this great sorcerer, lots of like healing abilities and
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of it is like probably like many times before, as you're trying to explain like the term's worth of learning to me before the final exam, and I'm just like, yeah, and you're like showing me all these really well done notes that you've done, and I'm like looking at my scribbles and going, yeah, sure, like it's getting through, but you're like, yeah, like he definitely will. Like even if you do brush over like the afterlife stuff and like the necromancy shit, I think the blinkers he has for you, he wouldn't sort of take that as anything anyway. It's good to know.
Yeah. So it seems that there might be at least a lead or some more information about this character in the forest. So just I didn't want to find myself wandering off and not have anybody know what's going on, you know. Not that I plan to wander off into the jungle. This sounds like
I'm always waiting for you to wander off, and I watch. Don't worry, I watch you.
Okay. But yes. If I find some certain things, just perhaps we keep a couple things to ourselves. Not that I don't trust our friends, but I just want
I
to
like these.
know what I know before we tell too many people, you know?
Agreed. I like these people. But at the end of the day, it is me and you. And we have to look after ourselves.
Exactly. That's why I thought I should probably tell you. Don't want to keep too many secrets, you know?
Good. And we don't even know if we can trust this house. It hasn't worked out for us in the past, so I'm still skeptical of these Drosko friends. I was hoping to have a word with Shapiro in the morning. Maybe try and get a deeper understanding.
You know how we have to be around houses and stuff, I guess, but I'll leave that to you. Right, well, I need to get some rest, at least.
Agreed. Bedtime.
All right. So as you kind of rest up, get into bed, as the tabaxi, Puck's already well tucked in and snoozing. Bargear out by Obak. A bit of a restless sleep, but still can gain the benefits of a long rest. But before we tick it off, Ghost, you grab your blanket and go back up to the captain's deck as Onus, kind of looking out over the horizon, is just making small adjustments to the steering wheel. You can hear the creaks of the ship and the hum of the energy. Molokov, one thing you would have noticed is that there is a blue dragon shard powering this vessel. It would be found kind of underneath the captain's deck, next to the quarters of Shapiro and the captain. Probably, I'd say torso size, but thin, very jagged. It sits in a machine and it kind of just rotates.
Cool.
But
out of curiosity,
yes, the blue dragon shard is what would power this airship. Ghost, you hear the hum of it. You hear the silence of the night. That's probably what is most piercing, is that past the airship and all its little tiny noises is just almost nothing. Very peaceful. But Onus kind of looks out. He's acknowledged that you have come up to the deck.
I can see the charm of doing this for many years. When it's peaceful, at least.
Yes, in a world full of turmoil down on the ground, up here is where you can get serenity.
How do you know which way to go?
Bit of instinct. Bit of this. And he pulls out a what looks like a kind of a magnifying glass without the handle. Just a round object, and it's kind of got this crystal look to it. Almost prismatic. It's got kind of different angles to it. Yeah, have a look. And he'll hand it over to you. As he hands you a gem of seeing.
Oh, wow, since I've seen one of those.
So as you look through it, you have true sight.
Gus kind of looks it over for a second and is wondering what he's up to, and then he finally holds it up and looks through it.
Sure. So you can see in normal and magical darkness, see invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect visual illusions, and succeed on saving throws against them, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. Furthermore, you can see into the ethereal plane within the same range. So, as he kind of like holds it up to your hand, and he kind of guides your shoulders, like he kind of almost moves you near to the steering wheel, and he goes, out there, and he points to the front of the ship.
I'll hold it up and look through.
It's like this big.
Bigger in my hands.
Yeah, this is true. And you move it across the front of your face. As we go through it, as he looks towards the front of the ship, is the true sight going to reveal anything amongst the party?
Can you just explain to me what true sight might reveal?
Yep. A creature with true sight can, out to a specific range, see in normal and magical darkness, see invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect visual illusions and succeed on saving throws against them, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or creature that has been transformed by magic. Furthermore, the creature can see into the ethereal plane, I think that'll be you, Vargeir, within the same range. For old T-Dog.
He'll probably see 10.
I'll leave you for the description of what Tin might be doing. Maybe not interacting directly with you, but what might go see as he kind of swings past your area of the ship.
You'll see kind of this like kind of transparent, small, ethereal, kind of slightly green spirit just kind of hovering at the front of the boat. Like if because the cage is at the
bow, yeah.
The bow.
Right?
Yep.
So and there's a little bit more ahead of that.
Yes.
So she'll probably be like just past that, just sitting right at the tip, just like kind of looking out, not moving at all, not paying attention to anything in particular, but just kind of fixated on out.
So you notice that, and you probably can't see its connection to Vargeir, but there's just a sense of a tether between the two. But more so, you follow Onus's point, and you start to see the ethereal plane mix in, and you see almost kind of like ley lines, like the aurora borealis or whatever it's called, and you see that there are like currents that he's looking at. He goes, they might not interact with us directly, but in a way, it's good to follow sometimes. And as you kind of just start to get interested in it, you see him grab it off you and put it in his pocket.
Well, fuck me. Here I was thinking you use the stars like a normal person or something.
It's good to be eccentric sometimes. They do also help. You kind of like, almost like, oh, you've got me. I'll let you in on a secret. And you do kind of get the feeling that like, he likes to show off a bit. Like, after you say it and after that reaction, of course he uses the stars as well. But this is a bit more of a, let me wow you with my little device.
That's must have cost you a pretty penny.
Oh, well, when you're getting looked after, money isn't everything.
Right. Ugh. Really wish Shapiro would have told us. It would be cool.
Oh, he leaves out some details sometimes, but we are flying in an airship. Kind of like gives you a look like, what do you expect?
Never been this high before.
Me too, man. Me too.
Where did he pick you up?
You see him take a beat at that. Our paths crossed quite a few years ago. He wanted to look after me, get me out from the ragtag bundle of piracy and raiding. Jarosco's a good cause. I'm happy to help out where I can.
A lot of people have been saying that.
Hmm.
Can't help but think that that's what they really want the people to know.
Well,
Well,
do you disagree? You see him kind of look. He looks at you when he asks that. He's not looking at the steering wheel anymore. He actually turns and looks at you. Do you disagree?
I look back at him and kind of, with a half shrug, I'm just cautious of everyone I meet.
That a boy. Kind of gives you a wink. Don't ever lose that. Turns back, faces forward. He's still talking to you, but he faces forward.
Yeah. What should we be looking for?
In regards to?
Out there, right now? What in your experience is the big red flag?
How do you mean? What are you asking?
What are the when he's looking out at the sky as we're going through the night? If there's trouble,
oh, for navigation. Yeah.
What are we looking for? Yeah.
Well, I could write a book on everything I've encountered in the skies. Bad weather, bad beasts, bad boats. Gives a chuckle to himself.
What's the best thing you've seen?
Oh, now that's a good one. Kind of like thinks for a second. One time I think the expression is flew too close to the sun. There are some weird and wonderful things the higher up you go. Some say they don't ever land. Bit hard to describe. Roll me an insight check.
Oh, that was awesome. 24.
He's weaving a tale.
Ah. How much is known about what is a space? What kind of common knowledge? Like we sitting here around this table know that scientifically there's all of the stars and there's things that exist, but what is the general knowledge here?
I'm gonna get Ghost to give me a history check.
Fucking natural 20.
Nice.
For 24.
I think with your upbringing and education, again, space is a weird concept in a fantasy world, but it almost goes into the realms of, because there are airships and stuff, you can go higher and higher. There is something beyond the atmosphere, but that's when you kind of get into the point of, is that where the layer between planes start? You know, there's the deities in the plane, or Sybaris, and then there's Kyber underneath, which is the Underdark. If you go further and further into the Underdark, you eventually get to Hell. Is that how you get? Is it linear? Is it not? There's still confusion around that, but there is definitely layers.
Gotcha.
The capabilities of an airship are not even halfway to touching what space would be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can't really remember where I was going with that.
And this happens over a conversation with Onus, and he gives direct answers, but there is a bit of a sing-songy tale to anything he can put a spin on.
Yeah, a little bit flamboyant.
Yeah.
Have I heard of vessels that can travel that far?
Probably not.
Okay. Do you think people will ever get up there one day?
If they do, I'll be definitely probably part of that ship.
Well, if I ever hear about it, depending on how well you do getting us to Khorvaire, I might give you a call.
Gives a grin. I look forward to it. I feel like if you're going to be helping us out, we're going to have a lot to do with each other.
Hey. The helping part's the most important. I should go bundle up.
You rest up. I've got this.
Kind of give him a nod. Still don't quite have a beat on him. And rub the side of my head. My headaches are kicking in again.
Yeah.
But I'll walk to the front of the ship. Saw that ethereal spirit through the looking glass.
Yes.
I'll stand right next to where I think she was or is. Kind of reach my hand out and touch empty space. Look back at the grate where Vargir is on Novak. Glad something's watching over you. At least I hope that's the case. And I'll also go below deck. Curl up in a corner of a bed. Not even quite lying down across it. Will actually prop himself up against an edge.
Sure.
Sort of in a way that he's done many times when he was lost and traveling by himself. Just alert and thinking, but gets warm and bottles up and goes to sleep.
Very nice. So, as you all rest on up in the air, you can all take that long rest, which will be helpful for some. Very much so. As you all kind of get like a pretty good night's sleep, but it is still a weird sensation as the gravity kind of shifts every time the ship turns a bit or accelerates. But eventually morning comes, and whoever's getting up first, you can decide, but you see the sun coming up from the east as it streaks across the sky, and you will see Onus at the steering wheel, staring out, putting this glass back in his pocket, and continuing to stare the ship.
Do not sleep.
We'll go Puck first. You get up, you see Onus at the wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, I rest when I can, but the captain is always alert.
Right, I just thought that there might be a first mate or something who would take over.
No, I don't like sharing that much. And as he says that, Shapiro will kind of come out of his cabin and close it behind him. Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
What a pleasant one it is. It's nice to be above the clouds so we get all the sunlight.
Yes, and the morning warmth does hit quite nicely. What were you going to say, Vargir?
I was just gonna say, seeing I'm outside, I would just like to wake up like a little bit before everyone else.
Okay, sure.
You know what? Actually, don't worry. That's right.
All right, you join the rest of them on deck. Well, Shapiro says there's not much to do during the days, but I guess sit back, relax, and enjoy the views. I've got a bit to do on the paperwork side of things for jobs back home, so I'll be in my office if you need me. Otherwise, the ship is yours.
Perhaps when you're done wrapping up the paperwork, we could all have a sit down and get a more formal briefing on what to expect when we land.
Absolutely. Why don't we say over dinner?
Sounds like a plan.
Is anyone up for some sparring?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I have a new weapon I need to get the hang of.
I'm down.
All right.
In some ways, so do I.
This is also true. So we can have a bit of a sparring match on deck.
Wait, hold up. Varga's idea of sparring is like no weapons, it's just fists.
I thought you were going to say it was like in a hot tub with like.
So as soon as he kind of hears like, oh, I have weapons, Varga's kind of going to be like, no, I'm not hitting anyone with a mace.
You're not. I sort of roll my shoulders back. You want the fist fight then, eh?
Yeah, Varga's going to like take off his cloak, drop his weapons. That's the idea of sparring, right?
Can't imagine getting hit by the metal hand would feel much different to being hit by a mace.
You have seen Molokov do some damage with the hand now. He was almost joking. Like
Hold up.
Especially if we're still wearing armor. Fuck me. Good luck.
That could be very intense. But if we want to have a quick little spar between characters,
I think for flavor, it would be fun if we did like a little thing. I think Molokov would definitely hold back.
Yep.
I suppose we could do that, and I could treat it as just a normal unarmed strike, and then it's just our strength on strength.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about the left-handed arm wrestle?
Oh, come on.
Tell you what,
boring.
as Varga and Molokov kind of square up, you can give me strength checks, and then it'll be athletics checks, and then it will be acrobatics checks.
Lovely.
All right, so it'll be 3 kind of rounds as they go against each other. So first of all, so strength,
so
basic,
strength check,
straight strength.
That's an 18 plus 3.
It's an 11 plus 4, so 15.
So as you kind of wound round each other, and yes, your arm is coming out, Molokov, but the reach of Vargir kind of swats you across, and you fall down and get back up. And now athletics.
As he's like on the ground getting back up, back home we get to learn to spar with trolls.
Nice.
I think I can take a hit.
I'll see what the roll is before Molokov responds. Oh no!
That's 10 plus 5, so 15.
I got a 4 plus 6, so...
Molokov, you get back up, and he mentions trolls, and you kind of take half a second to think, troll, bang! You get hit around the face with this arm, and Vargir is kind of like doing the rounds on you now, and just like swatting you when you get up, and you're breaking quite a lot of sweat now. So acrobatics.
Acrobatics. Now this is the one I think we're both bad on.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Molokov,
That's
guys.
a natural 20.
Oh. Molokov,
I wasted all my good rolls on this stupid bar.
You get up, Molokov, and he's now, where's he gone?
For reference of the difference.
It is natural 20, but minus 1, so it is a 19.
Give me a Constitution save, Vargir.
Oh, sure. I'm not shitting you. That's another natural 20.
Nice.
I am not.
You round behind Molokov, and you see him kind of like get up on like all like 3-prong, 2 legs, 1 arm behind him, and you just come across and sweep under his arm and legs, and he falls bang flat on his back. Before you turn around and you feel your blood pump a little bit, and then you stabilize, and you've taken this win.
As I imagine, it's like a fist that slowly turns into a arm that reaches out. And trolls hit a lot harder than you, my friend. As I'll pick him up.
Nice.
Well, certainly a hit to the pride, but I appreciate a good fight when it comes along.
Watching this from the sideline, mostly for Varg, because I imagine Molokov fights like almost like a trained boxer, like arms up, like stepping and weaving and moving with his limited range because everything's armored. But what does Vargear look like when he's fighting?
It's very feral. Nothing's like, it's almost like there's no thought put into it. It's just pure like gotta move, and like even sometimes it's not even just like fists up in face. It's just like to the side, and when he can, he's just like bah.
Yeah,
I imagine Molokov did a lot of like. He would be almost expecting those weird wide strikes, but he'd almost instinctively put up his shield, which wasn't, wasn't part of the fight, and and then like would just get that smack across the face, and
so it's got a bit of like animalism to it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing these two just fight with the bare bones of everything, but Vargear definitely comes out on top of that one.
Molokov's not much without his gadgets.
Vargear is gonna get like give Molokov like a big hug. That was fun.
Nice.
Agreed. You're dreaming if you think that's the last match.
I'm expecting many more.
As Ghost and Puck, you see the two big brutes kind of finish their spar. Would you two like a bit of a tussle?
All right, Puck, you're up. What are our conditions? Said you had a new weapon to test, right?
Well, I was just going to see with I'll pull out the grappling.
Pulls out a gun.
Right, so face back to back, then walk away from each other on the count of 10.
Oh, jeez. I'll pull out the. You know what? I'd wager that I could do just about as much damage with a sneak attack.
Possibly.
Yeah.
You could do more, to be fair.
So your skills are going to be Dex, acrobatics, sleight of hand, and then athletics. So there's 4 rounds to this one, as it's going to be a very fast-moving, very dodgy kind of fight, but you can describe each one as you see fit. So first up is dexterity. Straight dexterity.
Oh wait, what are our terms? What do you pull out?
I'm trying to see if I can like trip you, or like not that kind of thing, like wrap it around your weapon or something like that to disarm you, that kind of stuff. And mostly I'm not trying to damage it, but I am very much trying to dodge whatever you're trying to do to me. But I'm trying to like get away, get some space, shoot it off, and see if I can use it to like trip you, disarm you, those sort of things.
So I'll pull out a hand crossbow, and we'll take the tips of 5 or 6 arrows.
That's cool.
And even wrap them in a bit of linen or something so they become non-lethal.
I'll hand over the repeating crossbow that you gave me.
Oh, you want me to use this?
Well, it only seems fair.
All right. Well, it seems like anything non-lethal is on the table.
I'll take the other crossbow.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
So as you kind of line up against each other, and Vargear and Molokov, you kind of help each other up, and then you see these two smaller statures, like the stairs between them. Suddenly, it's like the lights dim down a bit. But we go straight dexterity for the first roll.
And I cast jump. I click my boots, and the springs lock, and I suddenly move with my steps, like leaping from side to side 3 times the distance that you thought I'd make.
For sure.
And Puck shoots his grapnel into some of the rigging and goes flying, and then disconnects it, and it retracts, so he's also just flying through the air. Let's go.
Dexterity?
I didn't know I would see the new Spider-Man multiverse.
I was thinking, the fight scene. I think it's like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where they're in the whirlpool.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and they
that's cool.
locks together.
Yeah, and then, like it's all the jumping through into the sails and.
This is just dexterity.
Yes, straight dexterity.
Straight
21.
dex. Whoa, good job. 14.
14. All right, Puck, you take the first round as you fling a grappling hook up into the air, and you kind of do the Spider-Man swing around. And even though
I go up with it, and as you're coming down for your second jump, I've disconnected it, catch onto the rope, and shoot it so like it's coming down. It goes like straight through your legs, but as you come down, you get a bit of that wedgie, and then you're riding it down to the ground before you can spring back off the ground.
Oh,
nice, and you feel it as yes, this move is taking you by surprise as you move into acrobatics.
Bit of rope burn in a very uncomfortable place.
Yep.
You're gonna outdo me on that. Acrobatics,
what was it?
for sure.
Acrobatics.
So I'm gonna take a beat
Ooh.
and flick one of the lenses of the goggles down, and it's just gonna shimmer in your direction, and I kind of get a fraction of a glimpse of where you're gonna be next. I'm just casting guidance on myself.
Sure.
So I'll add a D4 to this roll.
And Molokov and Varga, you see that there's a lot more intricacy in this fight rather than just straight boom headbutting.
19.
Acrobatics.
Yep.
15 plus 2 plus a 3 on the guidance, so 20.
Nice. Pike, you think you've got it again. You try almost the same trick, and Ghost just sees it ahead of you. And Ghost, how you want to describe this one?
This time, as you go to fire the hook to sort of intercept my direction, the briefcase pops out and it just disappears into the bag of holding and gets no purchase.
Nice.
And so your pull maneuver, whatever you're aiming for, falls short. And I almost grab the edge of the rope and give it a tug so it knocks you off your course a little bit. Tumbles you across the deck.
Nice. As you kind of do that roll, that fast roll people do, and then they kind of get straight back up. Puck, as you kind of shake off this loss, now comes sleight of hand. As you both run towards each other again.
It's decent.
You go first.
Oh, it's a 19.
It's a 27.
Oh!
I got a nat 20. Okay, this
so
time.
I imagine that's
yeah,
fucking good. I imagine I rush up to you and try to pull like one of the daggers out of your belt and turn it around to your throat, but you've already got the upper hand on me, so you are...
Yeah, I reckon Puck sees you coming and he shoots off the like you guys like we're close to the edge. He shoots off the grappling hook and it wraps around your midsection, and Puck just looks at you and falls off. And you go flying, you slam into the wall, and as I come down, I hit the edge and I do the retract back up, and I come flying off, and I land up standing behind you, unwrap it and jump off and do it like a flip over you, and I'm standing facing you again. Nice. And then to finish it off, athletics, as you kind of both try and catch your breath and land the final blow. I'm not good at athletics, so this will be interesting.
Nope,
I don't think either of you are yet. It's kind of like the end of the fight, something like that you're not quite good at always comes in clutch. Yep. That's a 14.
Athletics +0, but a net 18 on the dice.
Oh, so even though Puck's standing here, you get the final move, Ghost.
How do you try to finish me off? Finish me off.
I don't know, because I wasn't trying to hit you. I was mostly just trying to dodge and use it to trip you. So I reckon maybe it hasn't fully disconnected yet, and I try and give it a pull to sort of just knock you off balance and knock you to the floor.
Oh, yep. Wonderful. So right at that moment, with a surprising burst of strength from Ghost, he pulls at the bindings and creates enough gap to whip them off. And as you pull, that kind of takes it. You're expecting weight, and it takes it with you. And as you just give that half stumble, you look down at your feet and look back up again as a padded bolt is sitting right in front of your forehead, and it.
Nice. So that brings us to the end of the spa as everyone kind of is a bit short of breath. Hera, you might have noticed this going on. You might have just been completely oblivious to it.
No, I was going to say I would have like overheard the discussion of firing sort of start up, and I would have sort of taken a deep breath. We walked to the side of the boat and just like plunked myself down, looking out at the boat, and I'm just sort of sitting there, flipping over a book or going through some notes and stuff.
Yep.
Every now and then looking, watching Molokov get fucking slammed on his back.
I'd like to imagine that the fight happens around you with Ghost and Puck's fight, and you're just kind of like, you're trying to read a page, and then the wind just blows it to the next page, and you're just like, turn back.
I go and shake Puck's hand. That was a hell of a fucking ballsy move, swinging off the side there. That's got to be 10,000 feet.
Got to trust in Molokov's craftsmanship, I suppose. I'll swap the crossbows back with you.
Yep.
And don't forget to put those the heads on the bolts again. Don't want to be non-lethal, and we want to be lethal.
Hey, pull out the gun. I got better options.
This is also true. So, after sparring and kind of just taking in the lightheartedness of being so high up in the air, the day goes past. Oh, yes, of course. I have a table. Can someone roll me a D100, please?
Classic.
Yep.
Start top left, keep working our way around.
Sure. Go, Molokov.
Sure. I love rolling D100s. 87.
87. All right.
11.
No, just he rolled an 87. Okay. So, throughout the day, Shapiro will periodically come out, get some fresh air. As you look over the sides for anyone that is tracking your journey, as you go past the region of Dargoon. Now, this is the region that was bordering on Kenrin. And Vargir, you've probably heard about Dargoon quite a bit, but you haven't traveled there. Now, Dargoon is very orc, goblin, hobgoblin orientated. It is where a lot of the kind of monstrous races go, and it is very tribal. Doesn't seem to have any cities that are established. There are big strongholds that are like bigger tribes with bigger palisade walls and stuff, but it is very warlord-esque. The bigger, the stronger you are, the better and land you have. And there's constant, not always necessarily fighting, but constant struggle between different tribes, and it's a constantly shifting environment. From this height, you can probably see some of the forest and vegetation areas down there, and the big open deserts that are at the bottom of the Sword Mountains. The Seawall Mountains, sorry. And Ghost, you probably look out as well to the east, and now it is more clearer during the day that the mists are present. You don't go too close to them, maybe, a day or so's travel on foot in the distance, so 25-30 miles away, but you can see the haze that it brings. Not only does it look like a desert mirage, but it now has a grey haze to it as well.
And this goes like we're above cloud level.
Yes.
And these mists are just rising in a wall.
And that's the thing, it doesn't look like it's a wall at this point. It's just it's more of a haze than a definite fog.
Gotcha.
Whereas when you guys entered it on foot, it was a barrier of mist that was just rolling and you stepped through something. Here it looks like it is thinner, but still present.
Gotcha.
But with a 87. The day passes with no issue. And you continue your flight as nighttime approaches. Occasionally, Onus will take a walk around the ship, kind of adjust a few things, but most of the time he spends at the steering wheel, looking ahead, occasionally pulling out that lens. Ghost, you see it come across you. Vargir, you see he kind of swings past you a couple of times as well. But it's not like staring at you.
I have no really kind of like idea or collection what it does, so it's not like I'm like
And more so, Ghost, you probably notice that he's looked at Vargir and looked at you.
Yeah, that is curious.
But towards the end of the day, Shapiro will come out and I didn't really want to get involved earlier this morning in that tussle, and hopefully it wasn't an argument of sorts, but I've prepared us dinner. If you wish to join me, some wine and food await. He gestures towards his cabin.
I am starving, thank you.
Leads you in, and very much like the airship they picked you up from Kenran, it is a makeshift table. His kind of office desk has been coated with a tablecloth. There are a couple of glasses of wine out, and it looks like pre-prepared, like cooked chickens. He might have used some magic to heat them up, but it looks like they were pre-prepared with some potatoes and some vegetables and stuff like that. Please. Gestures, and you kind of sit around, and he sits not at the head of the table, but on his side of the desk. But there are two spots at the either side, and then two spots on the other side of his desk. You start to dig into it, and it is quite delicious. It's not the best meal you've had in your life, but it's warm, it's sustenance, and he seems to be enjoying it as well. Except that he hasn't really touched his food. He seems to just be drinking the wine.
Puck will somewhat sneakily just be reaching into his cloak and like putting a little pinch here and there of some other spices from his little spice pouch.
Yep. Makes it much better for you.
Puck slightly judging the chicken.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little underseasoned.
Rawdon Gamzee never cooked like this.
It's very dry as well. It's not freshly cooked.
It's like smoked or something to preserve it.
Yeah.
I'm just munching with my hands. Ripping bits of the chicken off.
He doesn't seem to.
Kind of slightly hunched over as well, and then Longlim grabs the glass of wine and drinks it. And, you know, like I imagine that sometimes when he's eating small tables like this, he kind of looks like the spider guy from Spirited Away. And
yes.
Limbs kind of like reaching over.
Yep. Nevertheless, it is tasty. As Shapiro kind of is, he's sitting back a bit. He seems a lot more relaxed than you've seen him before. Takes a sip of his wine. Well, one more day in the sky, and we should be arriving in the new throne at just past sunset tomorrow.
Great.
And what's our first protocol? Obviously, the guys is that we're here to deliver aid.
Yes. There will be a Jarosco representative. I'm not sure quite who they're going to give us, but he will lead us maybe to their residence in the city. And then we've got maybe a 3-day travel on foot in the jungle. As you can imagine, we're not going to fly this into the treetops. There's not really a safe place to land. But we'll head up to the quarantine zone. And then I suppose we get our hands dirty without getting them dirty. Investigate what it is. I'll try and identify some of the toxins and see if we can help anyone.
So you will need to be inspecting a body?
Yes, I will be sure to take my precautions as well.
Well,
He will
can do
kind
that.
of gesture towards one of the shelves, and you see a couple of the vials of poison resistance on his thing as well. Go here.
As I was just saying, when he says to inspect the bodies, I was just saying that I'll be of any assistance if I can.
I much appreciate it. I might need a call on you for some of your knowledge. Seems we're interested in some of the same studies.
Well,
And
But ideally, go on.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're still working on the idea that this is some sort of toxin or disease. But it could be anything.
That is correct. My main objective is to go to the quarantine zone, make sure it has not spread outside of what they have contained already, although you can't always trust non-medical professionals to do all the right things. But hopefully it is contained enough in a spot, and we can make sure that there is no presence of the Emerald Claw there. Hopefully come up with a cure and eradicate this.
How could the Emerald Claw be involved in this? I don't understand. This is quite different to anything we've encountered with them before. What makes you suspicious?
Our reports from New Throne have... there have been hints of Emerald Claw or shape-changing. People going missing and then coming back acting differently. These people also are very adamant of not quarantining down this and sending parties in to look more into the mountains of what could be causing it. It's very strange behavior from reputable people, people of parliament, people of high regard within the city. It just doesn't tickle the right boxes, and we can't be too sure to make sure that this isn't them that is doing this. It might sound wrong, but I do hope that this is a natural disease that has evolved by itself, and we can evolve too and eradicate it.
And what of our mission? What is it that we need to do? I mean, I imagine trying to find a similar point of causality for all of this would be at the top of the mark, but it'd be our job to investigate such a thing, correct?
Yes, I hope... ideally, you serve two purposes being with me. Protection, if there is any resistance to us entering this quarantine zone and trying to take control. And two, if there is a presence of the Emerald Claw, then I hope that you can sort that side out while I can focus on this disease.
Right.
All right.
Makes a lot of sense.
These people are dangerous, as I'm sure you're already aware of. And if it is something they are working on or they are involved in, I do not want to be caught off guard by myself in the middle of the jungle.
Wise words were never spoken.
Hmm.
So, get there, we talk to some people, we trek for 3 days. What about business in the city? The leadership, what are they... Do we know what their standpoint is on this whole thing?
Again, we've only been contacted via written letter. So it will be interesting to see what the council decide, or whether they want us interfering or not. It seems like they were the ones that have prompted the ask for help, but you know what these things can be like. Not everyone might know that actions are being taken. We'll have to be a bit careful on how we present ourselves. We are representing Jarosco as it's most commonly known, remember?
Understood. So, understood. Get the very obvious glimpse in Ghost's eyes of like thinking about getting up to no good, but then shakes that off.
Anyway, I'm almost ready to settle down for the night is he kind of just pushes his food around his plate. He has been taking bites, but there's still quite a lot on there. I'll need to take a meal up to Onus as well, as he'll see us through the night. Is there anything else I can help you with before we settle down for our last night aboard?
Are you going to finish that? Because I'm actually quite hungry.
Oh, no, by all means. And he'll slide it over to you, Hera. It being on the air upsets my stomach a little bit, you must understand. He takes another gulp of wine.
Can I get an insight check on that?
Sure.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Sorry, skills. My insight's not that great, is it? It's just pretty normal. +1. 19.
19. With a 19, he might not be being honest about his stomach, but he is definitely being honest about enjoying that wine.
Gotcha.
What were you going to say, Molotov?
I just was trying to remember. Is this, as far as we're aware, is Shapiro like by blood involved in Jorosco, or is he?
I think best we could tell, he's like moved up through some ranks, but he's not like born into it.
Correct.
Right. Good to know. I think that was all I was just trying to remember.
Yep. Well, if you don't mind, and he'll start tidying up the plates and move them off to the side. And you see that he has a little kind of lunchbox for Onus. If one of you don't mind taking this up.
Yeah, I'm heading up there anyway.
Sure, and maybe throw this in for good measure, and he gives you a bottle of wine.
I'll reach over the table and grab it.
Woo!
And I'll start. I'll just make my way up.
Sure. You go up, and I think this is the first interaction you've had with Onus. As he kind of looks over to you, gives you a nod. Oh, a special delivery, I hope.
Yeah, some dinner and some wine.
Well, much appreciated. Thank you, Vargir. As he takes both off you and pops the bottle. Boop. Takes a swig. Almost like I can concentrate better now. Puts it down like on the wheel or next to the wheel.
Love it. Right, well, have fun. Yep. He starts to walk away.
He just gives you a grin and lets you walk away.
I would like to, as Shapiro gets up and leaves.
He's kind of cleaning up. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sort of be cleaning up as well and getting ready. And I'll sort of wait for him to go off to his room.
So this is his cabin.
I think we're
this is his cabin.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will meander about, helping to clean up and wait for the rest of the party to leave.
Sure.
To excuse themselves.
One by one, they
Ghost locks eyes with you at some point, as you can see
As he's trying to do the same
thing. And then he just gives you a nod and, right, we'll catch you in the morning. And leaves the room.
Shapiro will wait for everyone to leave, here probably being the last, and just see that you're meandering, and gives a slight grin that he's had this interaction in his office before with another member of the party, and he'll move over to the door and close it. Can I be of any assistance, Molotov?
I'm sorry to keep you up.
No, I've got all the time in the world.
I thought it best. You may already know this information. But I have a few questions and I think it's best I be honest with you about my particular situation.
Please. He indicates back to the seats at the table. There's still a couple of glasses and stuff, but he pulls a seat round and he's sitting on the same side as you. Like he's almost just facing you with the table off to the side.
What is, I know Jarosco is not all that it seems, and none of the houses really are.
No, they are not.
I was wondering...
What?
What is your relationship with the other houses?
Kind of takes a pause. In what sense are you wanting an answer?
Are they all friendly to you? Are there ones that give you trouble?
He ponders on the thought for a bit longer than would seem normal. Almost like he's choosing the right words to say.
As any good politician would.
As any good politician would. And he kind of leans a little bit forward to you and he goes, "You must understand, Molokov, that both those answers are true for each house.
Of course.
It is impossible to know what goes on behind closed doors unless you are invited sometimes. You have specifically been invited to know about Jarosco. Your little friend out there, part of House Galander, we're aware that he might share information back, but we also hope that he will be smart about it. Much the same way we could infiltrate other houses, but to what gain? We have relationships over the world, and Josu is very good at making what he wants happen. But we have a goal in Jarosco, and that goal is to be followed. We wish to rid the world of these abnormalities that seek to harm and destroy. Abnormalities that the modern, the everyday citizen can't understand, and sometimes won't understand. That they will come up with any excuse to believe that it's a strong gust of wind rather than the beat of a dragon's wings. It's the tremors of the earth rather than a monumental stone golem ravaging through the mountains. It's up to us to deal with these threats so that the everyday citizen can enjoy their lives.
Well, it's good to know. At least the goals have good intentions on your side.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
I suppose I should be a little more specific in my question then. And of course, I don't expect you to answer even with the whole truth. But I would like to know, man to man, if you would give me this information. What is your relationship with House Kenneth?
He sits back in his chair. House Kenneth. See him kind of look up as if he's kind of thinking. And the pause is significantly long before you hear and the door opens and Onus walks in. Sorry to intrude. I didn't realize a conversation was happening. Shapiro turns around. Oh, no, that's okay. Molokov and I were having a post-dinner chat. Can I help you, Onus? Yes, I have a question about our next course of direction. Just wanted to double check it with you. You wouldn't mind coming up to the helm with me, would you? Shapiro looks at you and goes, a conversation for another time, perhaps, if you excuse me. and will get up and follow Onus out of the room.
Can I get an insight on the pause? You know, the long pause before the interruption. Was that a? I think he's looking for. Is it a pause of shit? I don't know. Give me a second. Or is it a pause of fuck? How do I word this? You know, like is it? Does it seem that he was pausing because the answer was complicated, or pausing because he more didn't know, or like had to think?
You can roll that.
Insight is just a +1, so 16.
Leans to the complexity side. It was not a show of panic.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well played. He'll probably, almost hopefully, give it a couple minutes, realize whatever he's asking him about is not something that's going to take a couple minutes, and will let himself out and prepare for bed.
Nice. Anyone else before the second rest of the travel? No? Cool. So, oh yes, Ghost. It's the unmute button.
As in before we take a long rest.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go to having a long rest. Ghost will be like trying to sleep, but kind of toss and turn for a couple of hours, and then a little bit frustrated and also very curious, we'll get up and go and see Onus again.
Sure. By this point, maybe an hour or so has passed. Molokov's gone to bed. Shapiro's headed back to his cabin, and Onus is up at the helm. And you see he has a 3/4 empty bottle of wine and a lunchbox full of food that has barely been touched.
I see you take off the Shapiro with your meals during flights in the air.
Oh, not quite. I have a stronger constitution than he does. And he reaches forward and grabs a whole handful of chicken and eats it.
You didn't have to prove the point, but I appreciate it.
You see him kind of look at you. Just that sentence, prove a point, kind of just gets a little bit of a reaction. But carry on.
I wanted to know something.
Well, don't take too long to ask or the sun might rise.
When you showed me that looking glass of yours, the one that can see more than is actually there.
He kind of flicks it up between his fingers into his hand.
I thought I might have seen something.
You most likely would have.
It's just I've noticed your pause over me for a minute.
He gives you a look. And why might that be?
I want to know what you see.
I see something different. Something just next to you. Almost, he describes like the 3D image that's like just off. He says, red, crimson. Not its own thing. It's part of you.
Cool. We all have stories to tell with the things we've experienced. And I'll just run a thumb up behind my ear and cast a light cantrip with my abilities.
Yep.
And it comes out in a soft pink glow. It's no secret. I don't like showing it off.
Well, you'd be surprised at how many share that thought process.
I just wanted to know what you saw. I don't really know what it is myself.
Kind of gives a grin and kneels down to you as the first time you've seen him actually come down to your height. Comes quite close to your face. And he goes, "This lens can see. And what I saw in you is potential." Gives a grin. Takes a swig of wine and stands back up.
Well, way to put the pressure on us.
It's up to you whether you use it or not. Doesn't bother me. And you can genuinely tell that he's like, whatever.
Yeah. You know, I might have my suspicions about the House Jarosco. In fact, everyone I meet, but I do hope you and I get to work together some more.
Yeah, as do I. Gives you the bottle.
Don't mind if I do. Yeah. That would explain how you deal with the cold. Hand it back to him. Thanks for that. Hello. Yep. Wanders off.
At a bit at loss for words, you kind of like go to talk and then stop yourself and then continue down the steps as he looks out over the stars. And you notice that the ground below you, if you look over the side, is starting to reach a coastline of sorts. You can tell tonight you will be starting to fly over Kraken Bay. But as you head to bed, and you can all have a long rest again, although I don't think any skills were spent, cover up a little bit of the bruises from the sparring. You will go down for the second night on the airship. As we approach the final day of traveling, I think that is where we'll end this week's session. Picking up on arrival into Khorvaire next week.
Cool.